Also, what you said too is also taking us into the first topic too, which is before you were a father, you right? We have fathers, right? So, what was the type of fatherhood that you saw growing up? What was your father like?
Well, I'm a junior, Syriac Saintville Junior, and my pops is a very proud man. He had a certain swagger to him, and I'm Haitian, so they'd call him Bostonville. So I was used to seeing my father being a man amongst men. He was a business owner, so I saw that. He'd always tell me certain things that stuck with me. He'd be like, hey, I'm going to be home before 7 p.m., and I'm always home with my family. And even when he didn't have a ton of money, he'd pack us up in his station wagon, and he'd drive us to Canada. He'd get lost, but he'd be singing. He'd hum a certain thing, but I saw strength in him. I seen leadership in him. I seen when people are in a place, he'd be the first one to get up and start dancing. He'd be the one to be, talking to folks and making people feel warm. So seeing that, I saw what a man was, I saw what a father was, and it gave me that guidepost of what to head towards. So I always felt I had that. I wasn't even really thinking about being a dad. I was just out here having fun. But then when the opportunity presented itself, I definitely fell in love with the title of being dad and all the goods and bads that come with it. It's so worth it. It's very, very much worth it.
And you feel like you've taken some of the things that you've seen your dad do on instilling you now see yourself doing the same
100%. I understand why the importance of being home, the importance of being present, the importance of showing strength. Because people don't forget that. You can't teach strength. You have to show strength. You can't teach, being a leader. You have to show being a leader. You can tell people anything. You could, unfortunately, I know this woman I work with, and her child's father wasn't around, and now he's around. He wants to talk to her about credit when he doesn't see her but maybe once every 2 months. You can teach her some great stuff, but they don't. What they say, they don't learn from what you say. They learn from what you do.
Right.
So you could tell them a million things. Yeah, this is how you do this, and this is how you do that. Are they seeing you use it every day? Are they seeing how you implement what you say in your own life? So seeing what he did and how he implemented his own life and how he used it to be a successful leader in my family, that's what I use for myself.
I like that. Okay, thank you. What about you, Joseph?
Well, my mother, single mother. My father was around. They divorced when I was 2 years old. Unfortunately, the substance abuse got a hold of my father, but he did bounce back later on in his life and, got with God and got his life together. But it left him scarred. He had some mental issues while he was dwindling. But, as I grew up, my father was sporadically around. I had other men in my life. My grandfather was a huge figure in my life. And then also a few of my uncles also. But my grandfather was a very stoic, reserved man. And I kind of took some of those traits on as I grew. And as you reflect, in hindsight, you look back at yourself and you're like, wow, it's kind of just like Grandpa. And then, the other male figures in my life, my uncle, unfortunately, he passed on 9/11. He was a captain in an FDNY, Captain Vernon Allen Richard. God bless you.
Thank you for your
service.
Thank you. But he was he'd come around and help my mother, check me when I was I'm a young kid growing up in Brooklyn. And to dive more deeper into the fatherhood piece, I started to, gravitate towards the streets, and I learned a lot from the streets. And as I hear stories, and I know I heard you, Oren, say your parents are still together 52 years. Not having a father around in many of these families, even though my mother did a great job, with me and my sister, not having that direction, not having someone leading the family, in the universe is a cause and effect, and because this happened, the effect, and I can see it reflect in my life. Because my father wasn't around, I'm a young man diving into a relationship with a woman, not even committing to her. I take some fault. I am a single dad, and I appreciate the praise. But as far as me having those standards set in place. Okay, I'm gonna lay down with this woman. I'm having children with her. Are you committing to this family now? Now you have a family. You have a daughter, beautiful daughter, and now I have a beautiful young lady here. And what am I doing with her life? Am I leading this family in the right direction? My leadership skills, as I learn, as I reflect, I reflect on what's going on in my life. I reflect, okay, she did this, she did that, but what did you do? And I reflect on what did I do in this relationship? How did I lead this relationship? Was I a man in this relationship or was I a boy? Did I take everything I learned out on the streets, how to, we learn a lot of nonsense in these streets and in our culture and what they push in the music, and it's over sexualized. There's no foundation. There's no fatherhood being preached. So I'm pushing that in my life. And I look back and say, Joseph, you got to take almost 80% of the blame, because most women are looking for us to lead them. And now I impregnate this woman. I'm starting to have a family with her, and now I have a second child with her. And where am I leading her? Where am I leading her? So I do have to take a lot of accountability. For myself, I take a lot of it so that I can learn from it. And now, moving forward, Joseph, if you are going to commit to a woman, you're going to commit. You're not going to play around. I'm not going to jump around here and, I'm playing around with this. You're a man now. You have 2 children and you have to raise. So first of all, I'm not just bringing anyone into my life. And if I do, you're leading this family. You're going to lead your family along with the woman that you decide, or if she decides she wants to be with you and you decide you want to be with her, you're going to be a leader in this family. You're not going to, I played around. I thought money, me just jumping in, and I know I'm getting way off the subject, but this is the absence of my father and the leadership that I didn't have, and that I'm trying to acquire now.
I feel like you're already going into my next question too. So
awesome. I'm jumping around in these relationships and looking. I'm running around like a boy. I don't have any focus. I think that I could just let me go work. I'm in real estate. Go work. I got a family to provide for. Just go work. Work. I'm working. My daughter and my mother of my children, they be asleep when I get up. When I get home at night, I'm out the door before they get up in the morning. And again, I'm putting in these hours. I'm trying to bring home money. Money is not going to raise this family. Money is going to provide for this family, but it's not going to lead. And so I was missing a lot of pieces. And with this experience, you have to take everything in life with a learning experience and life lessons. And I've learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself through this experience. Again, my mother did a great job, but I was missing a father in my life, and not sitting here crying about it. I'm just telling you, the cause. Right. I didn't have a father in my life. The effect. Now look at me, and look the mistakes I made, and now I can lead my son, knowing. Now, as they say, if you what's the old saying? You know better if you do better.
You knew better, you do better.
You knew better, you do better. Now I know. So I have to pass that on to the next generation, and also my daughter. As we can see in someone that's nicknamed Daddy in our culture, money's not everything. You need to be led by a man. Right. And I have to let my daughter know that also, because if you just get in a relationship because he's got money, I'm talking about Diddy. Get out. The first time he ever hit you. Yeah. I don't care how much money he has. Get out. He's not leaving.
And being used to the kind of behavior that men are supposed to exhibit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And again, I check myself also, because I react on emotions a lot as I grew up, and I had to learn that you can't be so emotional. I have to feel my emotions, but I can't raise my family with emotions. Okay, they did something wrong. Talk to them. Don't just blurt out. I'm screaming, yelling. I was raised by a single mother. I didn't really have someone around that was like, hey, look, let's sit down, let's talk about these issues. I'm not putting any blame on her, but now I'm learning.
You did what you saw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's the balance between dads and moms too, because my mom, sometimes she might do a little bit of yelling, but my pops would be like, everything's good.
Right.
He'd be the one to come around and be like, yo.
Right.
And is Erwin, that's what
Now
is
listen,
that
I'm listening to you two brothers, man, Syriac and Joseph, man. And I think my story is a combination of both of yours, right? So my dad and mom, I just mentioned you guys, they're married for 52 years. You're Haitian, right?
Yes.
I'm Guyanese. Where were you born?
Here, Brooklyn.
Okay, perfect. Go Brooklyn. And so, I'm sure your culture this exists too.
Caribbean parents is very similar, brother.
Listen, the men believe that, tough love for the boys. Tough love for the boys. The girls in the family, they get the pampering, they get the hand-holding, the guidance, the nurturing. The boys, you're a man. Man up. And that was my experience. My dad, amazing. He's a man. He's a father. But my dad created this example for me where it was like, when you turn 18, you better have a plan. And again, coming from that culture, like, what is the plan? No one has ever defined the plan for me. Remember, I'm 18.
So glad you said that.
So it's like, okay, I'm in school, I'm achieving, I'm on honor roll, I'm getting certificates signed by the governor. I'm a star on the football team. Okay, Dad, what's the plan? And I want to share this with you guys because I'm listening to both of you and your stories is a combination of my experience. So my dad was never, he didn't have a substance abuse problem, but I think he was in an environment as a young man that shaped how he believed he was supposed to be a father. Right? So this whole 18 figure it out thing, I don't know where that came from, but it came from somewhere. And he imposed that on me and my brother. And I'm not doing this interview to slander my dad because I love him. Him and I have an amazing relationship. But at 19, 20, he told my brother to leave the house. My brother didn't have a plan. My brother's now dead. He died 2 years after he left the house.
Sorry to hear that.
At 18, at 19, I left the house. And my brother was older than me. I was like, I'm not gonna die. I gotta figure this shit out. And what he did was he had these rules. Like, if you don't do this, move out. If you don't do that, leave.
Caribbean things, man. They're like, yo, there is no failure.
And so he might say, if he ever watched this, I never told you to leave, right? But you gave me a proposition. You said, listen, literally this is what he said to me. If I come home and the garbage is not out, if it's garbage not picked up, because they come at a certain, you gotta get the garbage out. If it's not picked up, move out the house. And something triggered in me that said, nah, bro, you're not saying that to me again. And I left. Fast forward, man, my single mission in life was to not die. Like my brother did. And my brother died because my dad kicked him out the house. He was left in a world where no one taught him survivor skills to be a man. Just like my dad said to me, come 18, figure it out. So that was the experience I had, and I made a decision, a conscious decision, that I'm going to break that cycle. I'm going to break that cycle, and I think the sad part for me is that I understand why my dad did what he did, because he didn't have a father. His father was not present in his life. When he was a young man, maybe 13 years old, his mom went to work, and his dad, my dad's mom was pregnant with him. She had 2 children. His dad at the time picked up the kids from, say for example, daycare, and left the country with them. And his mom never saw her kids again. She was pregnant with my dad. So my dad was born into this trauma. I'm actually amazed that my dad was even conceived. Because how does a woman carry a child to full term knowing
under
that
stress and-
my 2 kids are missing? His father literally took the kids and left. So when I learned about that, I completely understood why my dad took them, because
Right.
no one taught him. So it's important that when we talk about being a father, is the examples. Who's modeling the behavior? And then there are times that we have to say, listen, we know what's good, we know what's bad, we know what's right, we know what's wrong, and then we have to say, I'm gonna break that cycle. And that's what I did, and I'm proud to say today that, you know, I have an amazing relationship with my kids. I love them both. My name is Erwin, my daughter's name is Erin, my son's name is Ian, so we're all E's, and E's is for excellent. And I'm so super affectionate with them, and I make sure that I give them the blueprint of life. I'm never gonna say to them, figure it out. And if I do say figure it out, it's because I place a number of options before them, right? So, critical question, what type of father we all had in our lives, and environment has a direct relationship to outcomes, right? So the fact that we're all sitting here and could articulate our own experiences, and I could say by every measure, you know, I think we are doing okay.